Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Write Scripts. I'm Micah Crady, the head of writing at Arc Studio, the best screenwriting app in the world. And there's a link to check out Arc Studio in the description. Today we are going to be doing 3 writing sprints where you can work on your script or other creative writing project, and we'll be chatting in between the sprints about screenwriting and answering your questions about screenwriting. We'll all be answering your questions, but also people in the chat. So basically, if you've never been here before, what's going to happen is we're going to do timed writing sprints together. Well, sort of separately. There'll be a timer up on the screen, play some music. It's going to be great. You'll all kind of shrink and be over to the side, and you'll work on your script. And then when the sprint's over, we'll come back together, talk about how it went, and I'll answer screenwriting questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see here. Before we get into it, I want to know, where are you and what are you writing today? Our 2 standard questions to get us going. And then we have our third writer question, which is, what are the keys to writing a good short film? So where are you in the world? I'd love to hear where everyone is all around the world. What are you writing today? And then for our writer question, it's just like a little one to get the brain going, to get the gears turning, as we've maybe been doing other things today. I've been editing a video actually about writing short films, which I'm going to release on the Arc Studio channel on Monday. And so like my head's sort of in editing space, and also like video editing just sucks the energy out of me. So I'm depending on good energy from y'all today to get some good writing done. But yeah, I'll talk about this in a minute, but I just want to know where you are, what you're writing today, and what are the keys, do you think, to writing a good short film? And I'll share some opinions of mine in just a few moments. Of course, during the second break, we are going to do the sandwich of the week. We have a special sandwich today. It's a beach sandwich. I went to the beach this weekend, which was exciting. Yeah, I took a sandwich with me. Of course, I'm not going to go to the beach without a sandwich with me. If you're feeling it at any point during this video and you're like, oh, I like this, but I don't like the video, doesn't have to be now. I'm not going to rush you. I don't rush people. But you can subscribe, you can turn notifications on, because we are doing more content. I'm making new videos every week about screenwriting, lessons and tips and kind of analyses and all sorts of things. So this week on Monday, I released how to write strong scenes, which is on the channel, which has turned out pretty well. And again, next Monday, I'm releasing how to write a good short film. And also doing like little shorts, YouTube shorts, kind of with just like little tips and lessons and stuff from movies and other screenwriters and talking about them, which has been fun to make. So yeah, so we're doing a lot. So, like, subscribe, turn notifications on, all that good stuff. Excited to see everyone in the chat today. Let's see here. To answer these 3 questions myself, I'm in Los Angeles. It's kind of hot actually today. So apologies if I get a little glowy, as they say, a little dewy, a little sweaty here in my little my office. I haven't yet turned on my little mini AC because it's loud and there is a little bit of a breeze. So I'm going to see if I can get through this episode without turning the AC on, because again, it's noisy. What am I working on today? I am working on developing an idea for a new TV pilot. So I'm sort of been brainstorming and just doing a little bit here and there and kind of working on this idea. And I was working on it last week too. And I think I started to crack some things open. So I'm excited to like explore those leads in Let's Write Scripts today. Karifa Creator, hello. Cash in Arkansas doing some free writing. Karifa still in Georgia, not the country. So please keep us posted. We always need to specify. 4th week here has become the highlight of my week. Oh, this is one of the highlights of my week too. I love writing with you guys and chatting with you guys. It's so much fun. I love the energy you guys all bring. And like, how dedicated you are to your writing. It's inspiring. Tisha TTV working on a miniseries parody, also in Georgia, the country. No, the state probably. Let's see here. Cash. One thing is to make it a short film. Should have everything a film has except the runtime. Yeah, so that's the question of the week, which I'm going to share some thoughts on in a moment, but love to hear Cash's thoughts on that. John in New Jersey doing heavy edit of a script after some great notes. That's awesome. John, how did you feel when you first got the notes, and how did you get them? I'm always curious. Were they email notes, or like, did someone tell them to you verbally? Because I have this thing when I prefer getting verbal notes, because when I get email note, one, because I love talking to people about it, like just really like diving down and, having a conversation about it. And that's like, once you're talking about it, ideas start to come. But there's also this thing when you get emailed notes where I don't know, let's see if anyone else has this too, where if you get email notes, even if they're great notes, it's just that initial thing where you just see the blocks of text and you just like, oh, like there's just a pure emotional reaction to it. So I have to just like step back and kind of just like get that, take the reaction and do nothing with it, and then come back and then actually read the notes and get excited about them. So yeah, how did getting the notes for you? I'm glad they were great notes, but did they feel great the whole time, or like did you have to wrap your head around them? Let me know. Brian in Jacksonville, Florida, working on your graphic novel. Awesome. Diamond in LA, working on a pilot. Christian in South Carolina, trying to overcome your latest failure. Oh no. Well, what was the failure? And I hope you overcome it. You will prevail. I believe in you. Kate in New York City, never written a thing. I'm an actor, curious about Robert McKee, but too lazy to read it. Well, I mean, I can tell you there are certainly plenty of summaries of Robert McKee on the internet if you don't want to read the whole book. So you can get you can get the gist of it from that. Cash, how important is story structure? Should you know ahead of time the story structure is even necessary? Cash, that is such a strong question that I'm gonna save it for the first writing break because I could talk about that for like the next 2 hours. Gigi, welcome, working on your mockumentary. Paula and Nova. John, oh, you got the notes verbally. That's awesome. I love that. Juno in Massachusetts, working on a TV series, never written a short film, but I guess you need a really clear story idea, tight and concise storytelling, and resourcefulness to make the most of a low budget. Yeah, so many great things. So the question of the week was, what are the keys to write a good short film? Because that's a video I'm posting on Monday. And Juno, yeah, you tapped into a few really important things here. It has to be like so tight and concise because you don't have enough room. You know, you have to get the story going so quickly because you know it is a short film. And resourcefulness, that's one thing that I want to highlight because there's something actually really cool about short films if you're going to make it, is that you're sort of limited in some senses by like what you can feasibly make on your own if you're planning on making it, if you're planning on actually producing the thing. And that those limitations might feel constricting, but like I think actually they can be very liberating in some sense, because instead of the kind of overwhelming idea that you can make it about anything and like really like it's just like the entire universe and like what do you make it about, it limits it to just like kind of your reality. You have like concrete things that you can base it on. You're like, okay, I have a ruler. Like what can I do with this? You know, there's the old cliche, necessity is the mother of invention. Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, which is great. But also this like thing about limits literally force you to get creative. Limitations literally force you to get creative. So it can be great. That resourcefulness really can spark things. There's so many things in movies where you're like, oh, why did they choose that? And it was like, they chose that because it was a problem they had. And, you know, like they didn't plan it. It just sort of like they had to roll with it. Kelly in Los Angeles, working on turning your short film into feature script. Ooh, cool. How's that going? That can be tough. I mean, sometimes a short film can be a great proof of concept, but sometimes, I don't know, there's always the risk where you just sort of have to like know in the beginning, like, is there enough meat here, you know, to turn it into a feature? You know, is the character strong enough? Is the story, is the problem strong enough? So I hope that's going well. Chris, currently writing episodes for existing shows that I like before writing my pilot. Awesome. So we would call that speccing a show. So speccing a TV show is a great way to learn screenwriting. It's what I did. The first script I ever wrote was a spec episode of The Office. And then I specced, I specced It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I specced the show Justified back in the day. I specced, there are a few other ones in there too. But it's a great way to learn writing because one, you learn structure because you kind of match the structure. You already know the character voices. You know how an episode is supposed to feel kind of intuitively. So writing sample episodes of existing shows, speccing the shows is awesome, Chris. So I think that's really cool that you're doing that. Let's see here. James, key to writing short films, having solid visual to base things on. How can you shorthand to tell the story? Oh, that's cool. I like that thought. Yeah, that this is a visual medium and you can use shorthands and like objects and things to get things across. James, that's a really good point. Karifa, I've heard from directors that you should know how to do a short film before attempting a feature since it teaches you to make the most of screen time. I mean, doing short films is great. I've made a few that I wrote and directed, not because I'm a great writer or director, but just because I wanted to learn. And I think you do really learn from all aspects of the process. I would also say, like, if you're making a short film, especially if it's your first one, think of it as a process thing and a teaching tool. And like, don't spend too much money on it if it's early on, because like really you can spend as much money on a short film as you want. People can spend tens of thousands of dollars on short films. I would say, yeah, try to make them cheaply and then learn from them and move on. Let's see here. Paula in the Bay working on editing a YouTube video, but still wanted to join. Well, it's like YouTube on YouTube. It's like levels for you, Paula. So glad you're here. Jim in South Carolina, new to this, watch Chinatown with the screenplay on the screen, which is really cool. Oh, that's awesome. That's really fun. I've done that with some movies. I also did once, I did this thing. I was watching the movie Drive, which takes place in LA, and I love LA and I love movies about LA. And so I literally watched Drive. I don't know why this reminded me of that. With the screenplay, but then I also watched it with Google Maps open, so that like there's the opening sequence in Drive and like all the car chases where I was like tracing them on the map. I'm like, okay, he turned right on Alvarado, like this kind of thing. And it was fun. It mostly made sense. There were a couple turns that like weren't actually based on reality, but it's a movie. You can make things up. Let's see here. ZC 10 p.m. where you live. Just got into script writing and it's all I'm thinking about. Hey man, it's awesome. It's hard, but like it's so much fun. And so I'm so glad you're here. 10 p.m. You're Europe somewhere. Where are you joining from, ZC? Let me know. Pam, hey, welcome from New Mexico. So glad you're here. Let's see here. Kelly's turning a short film to a feature. It's challenging, but the film was a proof of concept. Have draft one and spent way too much money on the film. Yeah. I'm serious. You can spend the first short film I ever made. I mean, I spent like $5 on or like $10 on because it was so cheap. And then I went up to a couple, like the fourth one, I had spent like $3,000 on, mostly because I rented a location for it. And that took some money. But like, yeah, you could spend so much. So don't spend money. Elsie in Ontario, Canada. Just brainstorming and outlining with a notebook at the splash pad with my kids on a bench, not in the water. That makes sense. You don't want to get that notepad wet, but that's so much fun. I hope your kids are having a great time. I would love a splash pad right now, actually. Maybe I'll do like a pool edition. I don't have a pool, but I can find one, or a splash pad edition of Let's Write Scripts where I could be like nice and cool and getting water on me as long as the microphone is safe. Oh yeah, for making short films, Pamela's a good point. Practice making content on your iPhone. It also helps and it's cheap. Oh man, it's so cool. I also watched that reminded me, I saw 28 Years Later last week or the week before. And that was all filmed on the iPhone. Which is like, when you hear that movies are filmed on the iPhone, by the way, it's a slightly misleading because it's like they didn't just use an iPhone. Like, yes, they used an iPhone, but they had like probably like lenses that they attached to it and like lighting rigs and still everything else. So if you see 28 Weeks Later and you're like, I can't make something that looks this good on my iPhone, it's because they spent tens of millions of dollars making it, even though they did use the iPhone. So, but yeah, you can totally just like make stuff on an iPhone on your own, which is just so cool that you have the access to that kind of technology in your pockets. All right. I'm loving it. Loving the energy today. I'm feeling a little more energetic now. Just like, I love just kind of reading your guys' thoughts and everything. It gets me more into it. Because like I said, I was video editing this morning and it just like drains me of energy. So like right before we started today, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do today, but I'm already feeling more energetic. So we're going to get into the first writing sprint. And we got some new folks here, so I'll kind of go over it again. Basically, we're going to do a 15-minute writing sprint to start. And this is like the chill warm-up sprint, lower the bar, no pressure, getting into the creative zone, maybe reading over what you were doing before, maybe free writing, whatever it is, just kind of getting in the zone. I mean, if you're ready to just hop in and like draft your script, go for it. But like, it's the warm-up sprint. So I'm going to put a 15-minute timer up on the screen. I'm going to mute myself and shrink over to the side. I'm going to play some chill music, and then we're just going to write for 15 minutes on whatever project it is that we brought here. There's no prompt or anything. It's just your project, whatever you need to make progress on. It's a time for you. And then after the 15-minute sprint, we'll come back together and we'll chat about how it went. I'll answer some questions. There was one good one from Cash that I want to get into, but please, if you have other screenwriting questions, something in general or something specifically about the script you're working on, you can ask that in the chat and I will answer it in the next, or I'll try to answer it in the break after the writing sprint. And remember also, if it's something about your own script that you're working on, just make sure you give me enough context, because sometimes it's hard for me to know, because it's like it's coming from your brain where you already know everything. So it like makes sense to you. But yeah, if you're asking me a question that's about a project you're actually working on, just give me the context. So it's easier for me to try to think of an answer, or try to be helpful, I guess. All right, so let's just do it. 15 minutes on the clock. We're here to write. I'm so glad you all are here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna play some music, and I want to write. I hope you want to write. Let's do it. end of the first writing sprint, the 15-minute writing sprint, the warm-up writing sprint. Welcome to everyone who joined us during that sprint. I saw some new people in the chat. No Shrinking Violet Productions. Thanks for joining from Brooklyn. I am so excited you all are here. How did that first writing sprint go for those who did it? Are the muses with us today? Are they blessing your fingertips and your creative energies? Are the ideas flowing? Are the words coming? Or are we struggling? Are we having to like rev the engine a few times to get the motor turned open? Do we need a jump start to continue to push this automotive metaphor? Yeah, let me know in the chat how the writing is going for you today, and let me know again, do you have any questions? Are there anything specific issues that you're dealing with in your script and your screenwriting you can ask in the chat? Yeah, anything in general about screenwriting that you're wondering, get in the chat and let me know. I'm excited to be here with y'all. So Cash asked this question earlier: how important is story structure? It's very important. Should you know ahead of time the story structure? Somewhat. Is it even necessary? I would say yes. I will expand. So I think part of it, like to answer this question, we have to actually start with what is story structure, because it kind of sounds vague and in some ways scary. In my mind, story structure really is just that your story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like that's it. It's not super complex. It's just your story starts. There's a beginning, right? It starts, then there's a middle where it develops, and then it comes to an end. It has a shape like that. That's kind of story structure. So in that sense, it's very important for most. Look, I'm not talking about like experimental film and stuff like that. I'm talking about like most scripts. You have a structure with a beginning, a middle, and an end. You don't have to know all three of those in great detail before you start. I don't always know. Sometimes I know of a beginning and I kind of know where it goes and I figure it out as I go. And I guess it also depends on what you mean by ahead of time. I mean, at the beginning, you don't know anything, right? Or maybe you know one little thing, but that's part of the process, is developing the idea, finding the story. And, in the beginning, it's why is this starting? What's the inciting incident? What's launching us on this? Generally, your protagonist wants something, or they're facing some sort of problem. And then in the middle is like kind of what the movie really is. It's them trying to solve that problem or get what they want, dealing with obstacles, escalations, all those things. And in the end, they kind of succeed or fail, or they succeed in some ways and fail in other ways. So that's just like a very general overview of it. But like, yeah, I mean, it's important that I think for the vast majority of stories, I don't want to say every story, because again, I don't want to limit artistically what people could do, but like a beginning, a middle, and an end is like pretty important. I would say. Subtledine, do you consider writing a short film as an exercise for a feature film more than a task in itself? Because the short film is mostly full of symbolism and short on details, in my opinion. A short film certainly could be an exercise for a feature film, and we were talking about that earlier. I mean, oftentimes a short film can be a proof of concept for a feature film, but not necessarily. In the same way that a short story could be a proof of concept for a novel, but there are plenty of short stories that exist on their own merits artistically as a short story. And the same thing with a short film. It really depends on the size of the story. A short film generally is just kind of about one thing, one moment, it's just kind of about there's a oneness sort of to it. And sometimes there's a story that's like perfect for a short film, but not for a feature film. It is a short, like that's what it's supposed to be. So I would say while it definitely can be an exercise for a feature film, it certainly can stand on its own artistic merits and be a full story. No Shrinking Violets. My writing style may be more suited to long form than script. How would one go about adapting that to a screenplay? Thanks. So long form as in like a novel? Is that what you mean? Because as a screenwriter, scripts, a feature is long form. So not 100%. If that's what you mean, though, I mean, let me know actually if you mean, are you talking about like, you're saying your writing style is more suited to novels than movies? If that's what you mean, I can give you an answer, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean by long form versus script. And then I might be able to help you. Yes. Okay. Like novel things. Okay, great. Okay. So, well, I guess I would say a couple things. One, You don't have to write a movie. If you want to write novels, like write novels. So, I would say that's that's what you want to write. If that's what you like writing, that's cool. That's fantastic. Maybe you're a novelist. That said, you're here. Maybe you want to write a script. It's a different medium. It's a visual medium. The trick really, okay, if I had to narrow it down to one thing, the trick is to figure out ways to externalize the internal, right? Because if you're writing a novel, there's much space for the internal. You can have pages and pages of just memories and the things and the thoughts and etc. Of a character. And in a screenplay, you don't get that. You don't really get the internal. You can use voiceover and that can be done well at times. Certainly there are movies that do it great, but still in general, it's about finding ways to express the internal through actions. So that would be my biggest kind of piece of advice, is thinking about how you can get across something through an action, a movement, a word, instead of like an interior monologue. Screenplays, I think, are a little more action based. And by action, I don't mean like explosions and car chases. I mean, like characters doing things. Because again, it's like you only get the sound and the picture, right? That's what you get in a movie. And so you have to use those elements sort of in different ways to tell a story. So I'm not sure how helpful that is, but I hope that kind of touches on a little bit of what you were saying. All right. Cash in that last sprint had some ideas, nothing solid. All right, it's okay. Karifa's muses can't commit. Muses do have commitment issues at times. I hope they show up. All right, yeah, the AI question. How do you feel about using AI in script writing, like brainstorming ideas and dialogue when stuck with writer's block? So my approach from this is, in the long term, I think, well, okay, I am generally against it in my own writing, and for a couple of reasons. First is that I am a writer because I want to express something of myself, and the AI is not that. That's something different. And second is that I'm lazy. I'm a lazy person, and I believe most people are lazy. And so if there's a shortcut that I can take, often I'll try to take it. And the brain is like a muscle. So if you start weakening that muscle, if you don't use it, if you sort of offload it to something else, it is going to be harder and harder to write, I believe. So I want to use my brain to train it as much as possible to make it stronger creatively, analytically, etc. To in the future be a better writer. So I don't think AI can be a better writer. I think in a moment it can give you something, but I think in the long run, it makes you a worse writer because you're not exercising your brain. And yeah, so that's kind of what I think. That's great. Hey, Sarah, welcome. So glad you came by. Congrats on your success with your creative nonfiction, and I'm so glad you're here. Hope you get some good writing down, whatever it is that you're feeling on writing today. I watched your great video on writing scenes. Dog poop. Who wants what? Can each character in a scene have their own want, or should the scene be focused entirely on one character's want, etc.? Okay, so Kelly is talking about the video I released this week, right? Yeah. How to write a strong scene. And in that video, I had advice, and I kind of walked through things you can do to write strong scenes. And then I wrote an example scene to sort of show some of those principles in action. And it was a silly scene. It was me, Micah, walking my dog, Marlo, basically. And I was in a hurry to go somewhere, but Marlo had to poop before I left, etc. And there are reasons for that if you watch the video. And in that, I talk about David Mamet's 3 questions for every scene, which I literally keep pinned to my board. If you can see this, I have horrible penmanship. Who wants what? What happens if they don't get it? And why now? That might be reversed from you. If it is, apologies. But it says who wants what happens if they don't get it, and why now? And so Kelly's question, hold on, I'm going to put this back. Kelly's question is, can each character in a scene have their own want, or should a scene be focused entirely on one character's want, etc.? Certainly, every person can have their own want. And that's often where the conflict and tension comes from, because different characters have conflicting wants. So, for instance, I love using this example. I don't know why it always pops in my head. If there's a teenager who wants to go to a party, that's their want. Their parents, on the other hand, want them to stay safe, want them to be at home, don't want them to get in trouble, get drunk, whatever. So in a scene where the the teenager's trying to sneak out or convince the parents to let them go, they have contrasting wants and they come head to head. So certainly it's going to be focused on one character's wants, or and by focused, I mean like that's going to be the thing driving the scene, right? That's your point of view character, the character that is you're kind of experiencing the scene through. So there is one character's goal that will have like dominance, maybe you could say. But in that, they should be going against other characters who have their own wants, because that's where a lot of the tension and conflict is going to come from. But Kelly, that's a really great question. Thank you. Thank you for asking that one. I love that. Hey, Charles, welcome from Denver, working on your feature. Let's see here. Main dance. How do you lead into flashbacks? Do you have a video on flashbacks? I talk about a little video about flashbacks in my scene headings video I did 2 weeks ago. The Ultimate Guide to Scene Headings. I talk about flashbacks. And so there's a couple ways you can do it. You can do like a transition flashback to, you can describe it in the action. You can use the scene heading to talk about it. So check out my Ultimate Guide to Scene Headings video. And I talk about flashbacks in there. Yeah, there you go. I don't have a mentor character in my story. I can't fit one in unless I use flashbacks. Is it worthwhile trying to do that, or should I ditch the attempt to have a mentor? So this is what Hero's Journey, I think, or something like that. Yeah, you don't have to have a mentor character. That's just like one approach. So all these like kind of approaches like McKee or Hero's Journey, like these are things, these are reverse engineering things, right? They're looking at stories to see what was done. And so they're more helpful in that way than as a formula. So you don't need any of the element. Like you don't have to have a mentor character if that's not something that fits your story as well. I mean, a lot of stories do have one, right? Like Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, yeah, there's a lot of Yoda, there's a lot of mentor, but like that happens to be sort of in those, it's more in those kind of like epic quest journey type, Kung Fu Panda. I mean, like they're like those kind of movies where it's about like a hero going on a quest kind of a thing. But a lot of movies aren't like that. Most movies that you watch aren't about a hero's journey. They're about just like life or different kinds of things. So if it's not the kind of story that you're trying to tell, then you don't need to have that. June had a pretty good first sprint. Loved working on this project. Wish I could take more time for it. I mean, hey, that's the thing. That's the struggle we all have, is to find more time but I'm glad to write, find more time to write, to finish my sentence. But I'm glad that this that Let's Write Scripts gives you the time to work on it. Let's see here. Paul, talking about short films. I saw a short film once where two people were disposing of bodies in the same place. Sounds morbid, but they made it funny, awkward. It could be shorts around something or something like that around an event. Yeah. So short films oftentimes are about, and it doesn't have to be like, but it's event almost in like in the quotes kind of a thing. It's like about kind of one thing. And again, I don't want to be too limiting, because there could be short films that are very, very different. But it's a limited in scale or scope or time or characters. Like it's all about the limitations, and it kind of focuses it down to like one main thing, you could also say, instead of event. Yeah. Oh, Sam, how do I write it? Sorry, this question and the next one are kind of related. How to write a story treatment? I'm doing my second draft of mine at the moment. I'm struggling. And Charles, what are your thoughts on story Bibles, sample videos, and screenplay? That's more of a pitch thing, though. So I'll talk about Sam's. How to write a story treatment? I'm doing my second draft of mine at the moment, and I'm struggling. I mean, it kind of depends on like what Sam, what you're using it for? Like, is this something for yourself as a development tool to help you write the script, or is this something that you're trying to write to sell the treatment? I'm going to assume it's the first one, that this is part of your writing process. Where I'm just going to answer the question from that perspective. Tell it like a story. My big thing about treatments and these kind of things is like I hate writing them often because they feel so dry. Like it feels like it sucked all the magic out of the thing that you're trying to do, all the creativity, all the spontaneity, and it's just like plot points, kind of. And this is kind of where it's interesting to think about short films. And I mentioned short stories earlier. That like sometimes you can think of your treatment as like a little short story too, right? Like my biggest advice would be like try to make it entertaining as well. Try to make it a good story. Like have it tonally match. That's a big thing I think for treatments. And that's why I was talking about how dry they are. It feels like if you can make, like if you're doing a treatment for a comedy and you can make the treatment funny, if you're doing it for a horror film and you can make it scary, like it's just so much more powerful and useful, I think. So I would say that. Charles, what's your thought on Story Bible, sample videos of a screenplay, etc.? I'm guessing this is more for pitching things or just try to sell it. I mean, the strongest thing generally, like especially when you're getting started out, is a script. Because if you're not an established writer, even if there's like a good idea or something, the powers that be are going to be like, can you actually pull it off? So I always think that like the thing that's most important to focus on is just like the best script that you have. Like that will be the thing that can do the most for you. I think here. All right. Okay, cool. Splash pad heading out. Thanks. Love that. Love that you were here. Thanks for coming by. I wrote those 3 things on my whiteboard after your video and it's helping me so much. Oh, awesome. The who wants what in a scene, what happens if they don't get it, and why now? Yeah, those are great. I can't claim credit for those. It was David Mamet, the playwright and screenwriter. But it's fantastic. All right, cool. So let's write more. I've been talking too much. I can always tell like my voice is starting to like go that I've been talking a lot. All right, we're going to jump into the second sprint. And this is going to be the 25-minute sprint. This is the big boy. This is the one this is what we're here for. This is what we're here for. We're warmed up, but we're not too tired. 25 minutes on the clock. We're just going to dive back in and we'll chat a little bit more on the other side. I'll share the sandwich of the week. I'll answer more questions. It's going to be awesome. Like what a day. What a day. How lucky we are to be here. 25 minutes on the clock. Let's do it. that brings us to the end of that writing sprint, which wasn't exactly 25 minutes because there were some streaming issues and the clock reset and I didn't know where it was. So, anyways, apologies if we got shorted a few minutes on that one. But this is Let's Write Scripts. Welcome to anyone who joined during that writing sprint. This is brought to you by Arc Studio, the best screenwriting app in the world. And yeah, we're doing writing sprints. We're talking about screenwriting. If you did that writing sprint, let me know how it went. Did the muses show up for you? Did they abandon you? Yeah, are you liking what you're writing today? Are you having any issues, any screenwriting problems you want to ask about, any screenwriting questions? It could be about screenwriting in general or something specific that you're dealing with in your project right now that you're working on. If so, get in the chat, let me know. Happy to answer questions, happy to chat. Yeah, for me that was a tougher writing sprint, actually. Weirdly, the first writing sprint was really smooth. I think I had like initial burst of energy from like just like the intro and chatting with you guys. And then in this one, like in the middle, I was like, oh man, I don't know. I kind of got like hit with just like feeling tired. But then I like got a second wind and unlocked some things for my characters and my story. That was pretty exciting. Pretty excited about. So yeah, feeling pretty good. In the end, it came back around, but there was some stormy weather in between, some choppy seas. Sprint went well for Brian. Karifa's muses dragged her into something completely different. At least they're trying to pull their weight. Hey, that's the thing about muses. They might show up, but you don't know where they're going to take you, right? they have their own agendas at times, but glad that the writing was going well for you. Quick announcement, of course, join us next week. We do this every week at 1 p.m. Pacific on the Arc Studio channel. You can just show up at 1 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays if you want, or you can RSVP using the link in the description. That way you can like add it to your calendar, and I'll send some reminder emails and stuff. And just, I don't know, I'm a calendar person. If it's not on my calendar, if I'm not getting reminders, then I completely forget about it. So if you're like me, you can RSVP, add it to your calendar, and you'll get reminders for it. Cash, still trying to figure out what you're doing. Keep going. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. You gotta, when you get excited about something, like chase that down. Pamela, was a great sprint for me. Spent time answering what my protagonist wants. What if they don't get it, and why now? Thank you, Micah and Mammoth. You're welcome. Mostly Mammoth, but I'll take like 2% of the credit for that. Kelly was great. No shrinking violence. Feeling abandoned. Oh no, where are the muses? Bring them back. Put out like a cup of milk and a cookie. It works for Santa, so maybe it also will work for your muses. All right, let's do the sandwich of the week. This is the beach sandwich. The beach sandwich is a special kind of sandwich because it's not the prettiest of sandwiches. It's been in a cooler for hours, wrapped in foil. It's been smushed by some beverages and some ice packs, so it's not too it's a little smushed. The mustard and mayo has soaked into the bread, made it a little soggy. But there is just something very special about the beach sandwich, because the beach sandwich, even though it's not the prettiest sandwich and it's not the crispest of sandwich, or crispiest, neither of those feels right. The most crisp of sandwiches, it's very special because it means you're at the beach. And I love going to the beach. And we went on Sunday, and it was a beautiful day. The dog's there. They were sprinting around. It was so much fun. Anyways, so the beach sandwich is great because it is a little mushy and it's a little cold, but also a little warm in weird ways. But like, yeah, it like brings me back to just like childhood, or just, I don't know. There's like something very special about it. Yeah, this bread is a smaller percentage of sandwich than usual. One, because of the fact that it is a little mushed because it was a cooler. Also, this is a different bread. This is a cranberry walnut bread that's more of a sandwich bread. It's actually like a pre-sliced loaf. So it wasn't me. When I'm cutting my own loaves, I'm doing fat hunks of bread. But this was a thinner one. So it started thin. It also was in my freezer for a while and was mushy. So it's like got smushed, Paul. So that's everything. I feel like shrunk it down more and more. Yes, sandwich. That's right. Yeah. So again, that was a cranberry walnut kind of sliced bread. which yeah, it's kind of oftentimes like my backup bread when I don't have like a fresh note. You said beet. No, beach sandwich. Although, I mean, like you could throw beet on a sandwich, I think. Certainly. So there we go. The sandwich bread. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Is that what we're talking about there, Cash? Is that a Dwight Schrute reference? Love it. Anyways, there we go. That is the sandwich of the week. Yeah, and any final questions? Any screenwriting questions before we jump into the last sprint? Let me know if anything else is. There we go. Vampy, yeah, Yummers. It was Yummers. I did I had a backup sandwich of the week that actually looked very pretty. It was like the photo. I was my brain is stuck. I'll just say I was stuck. I was trying to decide between this, like the photogenic sandwich that was just taken in my backyard, or the less photogenic sandwich that was taken on the beach. And I went with the beach one because that was it's like a special occasion thing. A relative of mine makes wonderful cranberry bread. Glad it's Marguerite's bread. Yeah, there's just this one place. Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but the cranberry walnut bread, I don't know why. It's very good. It's not something that I would think of normally, but I like it. I like it. All right. So all right. Again, we got Let's Write Scripts next week, and I think we're gonna hop into the final writing sprint. Yeah, I think we should do that. I think we should finish strong. I think we're going to end with a 15-minute writing sprint because we're running a little behind, and also my brain just feels like it doesn't have a 25-minute writing sprint left in it. I don't know how the rest of you guys are feeling. If you are feeling a little extra energy, then you can stick around and just do your own writing. I want to encourage you guys. I know busy lives, school, work, lots of things going on, but I do hope that you try to, do more writing outside of Let's Write Scripts. Because I don't know, it's important, and the more time you can put into it, the more progress you can make. I know it's hard though. So I'm glad you're here, but if you can, for me, mornings are great. Some people love mornings. Some people love evenings, when the world is quiet, and cool. Those are my favorite times to write. My wife's a writer and she likes writing in the afternoon. And that is my least favorite time to write, because it's just I get that the afternoon sleepies. So all right, let's finish off. We are going to do 15 minutes, play the music, and we'll say goodbye. Actually, I'm gonna 1 second. I'm gonna get the music going first, and then we're gonna do it. So here we go, guys. 15 minutes on the clock. Let's try to finish strong, and see you next week. If you have to leave during this writing sprint, say farewell in the chat. Let me know how the writing went, and I hope to see you next week. And if you stick around, we'll say our final farewells at the end of the sprint. So 15 minutes on the clock. Let's do it. All right. That is it for us today at Let's Write Scripts for Wednesday, July 9th. Thank you all so much for joining. This was a great time. My energy was up and down. I was getting waves of energy for you guys, and then getting tired again, and then I kind of ended here at a high again where it was like, oh yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you got some great writing done today. Maybe you learned some things. Maybe you made some progress on your script or other project. Yeah, I know some of you said this is a highlight of your week, and it's certainly a highlight of my week. And I'm so excited to see you all next week on July 16th, Wednesday, 1 p.m., same place, at Arc Studio Screenwriting on YouTube. Yeah, it's going to be great. Check out that video I dropped on the channel on Monday about writing strong scenes, and look forward to the one coming this Monday on how to write a short film. Yeah, that's it for me. Take care of yourselves and happy writing, everybody. I will see you next week.